The first thing Grand Admiral Ossian Thile noticed was the silence. 47 ships of the Vorthane Dominion Third Fleet hung in the void above the dead moon of Calanth 9, sensor arrays humming, weapons batteries idling in standby. They had come to erase a rumor. A single vessel, according to scattered scout reports, had annihilated an entire pirate confederation in the threshold belt in less than 6 minutes. No distress calls. No wreckage claimed. Just silence where 40 raider ships used to be. Command had called it exaggeration. Thale had called it impossible. Now, watching his tactical display, he wasn't sure what to call it at all. "Contact," said Lieutenant Vryasenwick, hunched over the sensor console like a man trying to disappear into his own chair. Single vessel. Just, appeared. No drive signature before arrival. Define, appeared, Thale said. "I mean it wasn't there, sir, and then it was." Thale walked to the viewport. On the holo display, a shape resolved out of the dark, long, angular, matte black except for a thin ribbon of running lights along its spine that pulsed a slow, unhurried red. It was smaller than his flagship. Smaller than any of his cruisers, in fact. A frigate, maybe. Nothing that should make 47 warships nervous. And yet. "IFF signal," said Communications Officer Prella Kethmore. "It's transmitting. Translating now." The bridge speakers crackled, and a voice came through, a human voice, flat and almost bored, like a man reading a grocery list. "This is the ISV Wyoming Steel, registered under the Seoul Coalition Charter, currently operating under Article 9 Deterrence Protocol. You are inside a designated exclusion zone. You have 90 seconds to reverse course. This is your only warning." Silence on the bridge. Then Commander Fesik Ulmara, Thale's second, let out a short, disbelieving laugh. "One ship. One human ship. Giving 47 Dominion cruisers a countdown. Query their fleet database," Thale ordered. "I want everything we have in the Seoul Coalition Navy. Ship classes. Doctrine. Anything." The answer came back sparse. Humanity was young by galactic standards, barely 2 centuries into starflight, a footnote species tucked in an unremarkable spiral arm. The Dominion's Intelligence Division had filed them under Category 4, non-threat, monitor only. There were notes about human aggression during first contact skirmishes 80 years prior, dismissed at the time as irrational overcommitment against superior force. The file had an addendum, added only 6 months ago, flagged in red, "Recommend reclassification. Pending further data." Thale did not like the words "pending further data." 60 seconds, the human voice said, utterly unbothered. "Hail them properly," Thale snapped. "Tell them this is Dominion sovereign space and they are outnumbered 46 to 1. Kethmore relayed it. The response came back almost immediately, and this time there was something in the voice, not fear, not bravado, just a kind of tired patience, like a man who'd had this conversation before and knew exactly how it ended. "Copy that, Admiral. 46 to 1. Noted. 45 seconds. They're not moving," Ossianwick said, voice climbing half an octave. "They're not powering weapons. They're not doing anything." "Then why," Ulmara muttered, "do I feel like we're the ones being hunted?" Thale had commanded fleets for 31 years. He'd broken sieges at Corven. He'd burned the Ashtari's rebellion out of the sky over 3 bloody weeks. He understood escalation, understood the geometry of fear and firepower. What he did not understand was a single ship holding position against 50 times its own mass in ordnance and sounding inconvenienced about it. 30 seconds. "Enough of this," Thale said. "Bring the forward battery to bear. Warning shot, 200 kilometers off their bow. Let's see if that changes their tone." The order went out. A single plasma lance streaked from the Dominion flagship, a spear of white fire crossing the black in under 2 seconds, detonating exactly where it was told to, well clear of the human ship. It should have been a message. We could have hit you. We chose not to. Yet. The Wyoming Steel didn't flinch. Didn't reposition. Didn't power a single additional system. 15 seconds, said the voice, and now Thale caught something new underneath the calm, not defiance, not fear. Certainty. Admiral, I'd strongly recommend you use them. This is insanity, Ulmer breathed. One ship against a fleet. What could they possibly? 10 seconds. Thale's instincts, the ones that had kept him alive through 3 wars and a mutiny, were screaming now, a cold animal alarm that had nothing to do with logic and everything to do with 31 years of learning what danger sounded like. He'd heard that tone before. Not from enemies. From men who had already won and were simply waiting for the other side to catch up to the fact. Helm, he said, quiet now. Prepare evasive. 5 seconds. All ships, break formation, full reverse, now. He never finished the order. Space didn't tear open so much as it deleted itself, a perfect black sphere blooming silently around the human frigate and swallowing it whole, and for 1 full second the Dominion bridge crew stared at empty coordinates where the Wyoming Steel had been, and Thale allowed himself exactly that 1 second to think. They retreated, they actually retreated. Then the sphere collapsed inward and the ship was back, and every reactor light on Thale's own bridge screamed red at once. It happened too fast for the human eye to properly register as a sequence. There was the Wyoming Steel, motionless, red running lights still pulsing at that same unhurried tempo, and then there was a lattice of hair-thin blue lines connecting it to 9 separate Dominion cruisers simultaneously, and then there was fire. Not explosions. Not the tearing, spreading fireballs of conventional warfare. Something colder. Precise. 9 cruisers went dark within the same half-second, reactors collapsing not from impact but from something that had reached directly into them and simply turned them off, hulls going instantly cold and dead and drifting, crews intact, systems intact, everything intact except the one thing that mattered. Weapons status, Thale shouted, though some cold, honest part of him already knew. Offline, Ossian said, staring at his own console like it had betrayed him personally. Fleet-wide. 9 ships were completely dead. The rest of us, sir, our weapons are locked. Not damaged. Locked. Like something's holding the trigger. That's not possible. Sir, I don't think possible is a category that applies anymore. The comm crackled. The same bored, tired voice. Admiral Thile. 9 of your vessels are currently disabled but crewed and undamaged. I'd like you to notice that. I could have killed 40,000 of your people in the last 4 seconds. I didn't. That was a courtesy, and it is the only one you're getting today. Thale stood very still. On the tactical display, the Wyoming Steel had not moved a single meter throughout the entire exchange. It hadn't needed to. What, he said, and was faintly disgusted at how his voice shook, are you? A pause. Almost, Thale thought, like the human on the other end was considering how to phrase something he'd said too many times already to strangers who never quite believed him. We're the species your files call Category 4, the voice said. Non-threat. Monitor only. I'd get that updated, if I were you. You've got about 6 hours before the rest of my fleet arrives to collect your survey teams from the threshold belt, and I promise you, Admiral, they are considerably less patient than I am. My advice, and I'm only going to give it once, take your remaining ships, go home, and tell your Dominion that humanity isn't looking for a war. The voice went flat and final, all traces of weariness gone, replaced by something that made every hair on Thale's neck stand up, not anger, not threat, just absolute, unshakable finality. But if you people insist on treating first contact like a hunting expedition, we will happily be the last thing you ever learn to fear. The channel closed. For 3 full seconds, nobody on the Dominion bridge spoke, nobody moved, nobody so much as breathed too loudly, as if sound itself might be enough to provoke the small black ship drifting silent and unbothered among the wreckage of 9 dead cruisers. Then, without another shot fired, without another word exchanged, the Wyoming steel folded space around itself once more and was simply gone, leaving behind 38 intact ships, 9 dark hulls full of very alive, very shaken crews, and one Grand Admiral standing rigid on his bridge, staring at the empty coordinates where a single human frigate had just, without breaking a sweat, redefined the entire galaxy's threat assessment of his species' fiercest rival. Ossian Thile had spent 31 years learning the true cost of war. He had just spent 4 seconds learning something far more terrifying: humanity had never once needed to fight it. They had simply been choosing not to. And somewhere in the dark beyond the threshold belt, the rest of that choice was already on its way.